Welcome to the FeedBak podcast, where we wear hats for no reason. We do this every week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody in the chat. On Facebook, we're live. We got Obi in the house.
What's up, everyone?
Our returning champ, Alex, in the house.
What's up, y'all?
And we have Adam as well. How you doing, man?
How are you doing? I'm doing
And introducing, if you've been listening to the podcast before, we have our first female guest on the show. After what? It took us like four or five shows to get a girl on. How you doing, Lane?
What's up?
Doing good. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you have questions, feel free to comment. We don't have an agenda. We'll just shoot the shit and see where the conversation takes us. Of course, there's a lot of shit happening all over town, all over the world. So it's not like we're going around the topics. But I like to just throw this out there to start the show. Fuck Brandon Cash. And I'm done. Let's go.
Fuck Brandon Cash.
Fuck Brandon Cash.
Fuck Brandon Cash. And if you go to Bon Barley, I don't want to tell the name of the bar. So
Well,
fuck it.
Well, before we move off of it, Brandon Cash owns a couple of bars in Austin. And there's going to be a protest tomorrow downtown at Unbelievable starting at 6 p.m. So anybody that hates Brandon as much as we do, show up. I'll be there. So let's
He's like always at a protest.
It's my new shit.
Hey,
got my shirt. I'm ready.
Where'd you get that shirt from?
Amazon.
All right.
Not even a black-owned business. How dare you?
I know, but
Man, you just
damn, Beck.
I did not ask that question to gotcha. I asked that question because I want to buy one.
Mm-hmm.
But look how it turned out. Thank you, Beck.
I had to. This was a layup, man. This was a layup. All right, so let's see, where can we go from here? Well, I want to bring up something, this whole Karen thing is out of control. That's not why you're here, Lane. I want to reassure you.
You're not a Karen, Lane.
You're not a Karen. You're not a Karen. But it's been out, like every day I read a new story about some bitch that just entitled or thinks that she can just call somebody out about whatever. This guy was writing Black Lives Matter on his own property, and then this white lady came up and started giving him shit for it. The worst one I saw was, I think it was in Michigan at a Kroger, and this black mom was with her 3 kids shopping, like grocery shopping, and one of her kids like had to put a step on his foot on one of the bottom shelves to get a Gatorade or something, and some white lady just lost it. And she didn't leave it alone. She went back to the parking lot, waited for that black family to get out, and stood with her stroller with a kid in it behind the black lady's car so she couldn't back away, and didn't say a word. This is like super Karen. This is some like.
Well, I watched the Karen. One of my friends, Brandon, he's probably listening to this. Sent me the video of a Wisconsin lady who got in the middle of the protest, and she was an older lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
With her car, and she spit on somebody in their face, one of the protesters, and now they've charged her with I can't remember what the charge was, but I was actually really surprised because I didn't even know that spitting on somebody was an assault. Like, I guess I've been under a rock apparently, but so I learned a couple things just from watching that video.
Makes me really sorry. Go ahead.
No.
It just makes me really happy that people are actually catching assault charges for doing shit like that. Because honestly, the only happy ending to these Karen stories is like they got as much as I'm like, it's weird because I feel like a hypocrite because we don't need police, abolish the police. But if there was a way to only arrest white women who cause disturbances in public spaces, especially during a virus, man, spitting in people's faces.
Did you see what they're calling the male equivalent to Karens? They're calling them
What's the name?
Chads.
Chad.
Oh,
my
that's
God.
brilliant.
Chads.
Chad's
You
a
know, it's
Karens.
just so funny.
Yeah.
Like anybody with those names, like sorry.
Who came up with that? I want to know who
I
came up
feel
with
I
that
feel bad
name.
because I like the Karens I know are all amazing people, but they got these other Karens out here like just doing their name raggedy.
Have you ever witnessed a Karen situation?
Well, there was a video in Austin. It wasn't about the Black Lives Matter movement, but it was about the masks. I don't know if you guys saw the video.
Oh yeah, the
The
lady
Party
at Party
City one?
City.
Balloon,
Yeah.
like she
Yeah.
wouldn't show up online, and I'm like,
Oh.
she wouldn't let it go, and I'm like, a balloon looks exactly the same online as it does in the store. Like the lady's nicely asking you to leave the store. Get the
The best part about that video is she's like the reason she gave for not wearing a mask. Like, I have a medical condition.
Yeah, fuck off.
What
Right.
medical
Get the fuck outta
condition do
here.
you have that is
Well-
going to prevent you from wearing a mask? Like,
Well, she has
you're the prime person that should be wearing a mask.
She just read the fine print that if you have a medical condition, it doesn't apply to you. And it just, honestly, I feel like you have a Karen story if you've ever worked retail or food service. You have
Yep.
one.
Oh,
And
I have. You know what?
I got to tell my story though, because
Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
got to tell it because it reminds me of the same thing with like service dogs. It's the same thing. Like so many times, people bringing in service dogs and being like, "You can't ask me if I have a disability and I need this dog," and they know the technicality. When I worked at Fresh Plus years ago in the deli, there was this woman who would come in. It was in Clarksville. She was like a wealthy retired woman with a little dog that she kept in a stroller. And she asked me for some ground beef. And I did the tissue paper, scooped the ground beef, put it on the scale. And she was like, whoa, you're not wearing gloves. Which, to be fair, it's raw meat and I use the tissue. So whatever, that's butchered, it's normal. I put on gloves for her. I washed my hands in front of her. I did all that. This is barely even a story. But I gave it to her and she's like, thanks, my dog loves this as a treat. I was like, did you just make me do all that to make sure my hands are clean to get your dog raw meat? Are you fucking kidding me? That's like the tip of the, that's like me as, I don't know. That's like baby Karen. That's like a Karen in
No,
training.
I can tell you, we all know Karens, and we've all witnessed Karens, or Karens in the making. Any white girl who walks up to the DJ with a request.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh man.
Can you play something that we can dance to? Karen, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, I feel like this is I feel like this is hyperbolic, but I've said it before. I think that sort of entitlement is like we joke about it, we make fun of it, but I feel like that entitlement is like the root of something really scary and insidious and like white supremacy and this idea that like I get my way no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know it's goofy and silly to see people like, throwing temper tantrums over nothing, but it points to something really dark.
People lose their
they use
shit.
the right word, entitled, because like when you try to get down to the nitty gritty of why do people like that, where they think, like the lady, for example, that you were referring to at the beginning back, who said, do you live here? I'm going to call the owner, and acted like she knew the owner of the place. And then the owner like gets on and says, I don't even know her. Like, and it's just this, like, I have some sort of power over you type thing. I don't even understand where it's from sometimes.
But the craziest thing about it is like now they know they're being recorded and they continue. Like,
Yes,
but like a couple of years ago, the moment somebody started like pulling up a phone on you and recording you, you would think, oh man, I'm gonna end up on World Star. I need to stop. I'm not gonna do this. But they don't.
Like,
we're getting to the
exactly.
point where they don't care anymore that they're being recorded. The same way with the cops that did the thing to George Floyd, like the bystanders with the cameras recording them, not enough to stop people from doing the bad behavior they're doing. It's a weird trend that's happening.
I don't know. The last one I saw, actually the big one. Did you guys see the women who went to city council? I forgot what state it was in. Florida, fucking Florida.
Oh, here we
And they were
go. Not
talking about
surprised
the
with
mask.
Florida.
They're talking about the mask. Have you guys seen that? Here, hold on.
No.
Let
Which one?
me put this one
Is
on
it the
because
one
this
where
is
she's in the grocery
All
store?
right, yeah.
no.
Pull it up.
These are women testifying in front of council members, talking about how they will not wear masks.
Oh wow. they act like they're fucking Mr. Smith Goes to Washington over here.
Yes, people are like, this is like a Parks and Recs episode.
Okay.
Parks and Rec in
Yeah.
hell.
Oh yeah. Oh, is it okay?
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear.
Wow.
I'm gonna sample that shit.
Just stop it there.
Things gotta.
There.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
And they want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it.
In the beginning, God formed man out of the earth and breathed his breath in him, and he became a living soul. Where do you derive the authority to regulate human breathing?
Okay.
What you
all right,
say
hold on.
is the political.
Pause. Go ahead.
All right. So, okay, as a person of faith, right? I'm just gonna touch on this real quick. It bothers me to no end when people confuse faith, whether it's Christianity, Catholic, Catholicism, whatever. Whenever they try and blur the line of trying to make their point and make their point seem right, and use the cloak of faith or religion or some organized, belief system, right? It just like, no, like it's oil and water. You can't use that to make your point. Like there's no like.
No, they just use it to justify whatever they're saying. Hold
right,
on, it gets better.
It doesn't mix.
Bro, Alex, I'm sorry. I want to keep this video. I just want to say like 100% co-sign. I feel like, I would call myself agnostic now, but I grew up in the church, and even like as a kid, when our coach would have us pray before games, I'd be like, wait, God's going to help us win this little league game.
God's looking out for you.
I hate when people are like,
pom-poms up.
power. It feels so blasphemous to say that the power of God is on your side about petty shit like this. Anyway,
Dogma that they're trying to shove down our throats on every commercial, in every store, and it's disgusting.
Every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested.
Devil's laws.
And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity.
Let me ask you all, do you believe you're God? Do you believe you can override God's divine plan for our lives? You're removing our freedoms and stomping on our constitutional rights by these communist dictatorship orders or laws you want to mandate.
Okay, so again,
I'll just stop here.
She's talking about you can't make us. Like you can't stop us from living like God's laws, right? That's what she said, right? And then she's like, well, then you can't stop our constitutional rights. Those are man-made laws. Like man-made those. Like it's a complete. That's what I'm saying.
She doesn't. They don't realize it's like you're being a hypocrite by what you just said. Like it's
two separate things. Like what's in the Bible, yes, that's God's law. But whenever it comes to constitutional law, it's a completely separate thing. Man made that. Like people made that.
This proves two things. One, Karens do not have to be white, because these
I was gonna say that was dumb.
that was
I think people think that
Karens.
they have to be only white. No, Karens come in all shapes.
Yeah, this is the Benetton ad for Karens.
I don't even think Karens need to be women. I mean, let's be inclusive here. Karens and Chads, and now I feel like everyone who is entitled with their power to appeal to authority to like subjugate someone else because they're not getting their way is a Karen, a Chad, or an as yet undecided non-binary name.
I wonder if it was the same kind of debate when seatbelts were introduced.
There was. I saw this on Twitter the other day.
Oh, really?
And someone actually provided a whole thread of like historical evidence of old newspaper op-eds and stuff being like, you can't tread on my, like it makes me, my seat is uncomfortable now.
I mean, seriously.
It's crazy.
They always frame it like everyone. Also, my favorite thing, I'm sorry, I'll shut up in a second, but my favorite thing is the like masks are for pussies thing. And I'm like, man, if that's true, then how come they're uncomfortable to wear and harder to breathe in? If they're for weak people, how come you're afraid to wear one? It doesn't track. That's like being like, yeah, man, lifting weights is for pussies.
Well, I have to say, if you wear a mask in your car and you're by yourself,
I did that when
That's-
things
that's
first
a pussy
started out.
move.
I was a little.
I
Well,
do see it a
I'll
lot.
own it.
I would say but if you have friends in your car though, like, so like I'll go on hiking trips and I have 4 people that I don't live with. So occasionally we'll put our mask on, like, or right when you're about to get somewhere, I could see the argument.
Yeah, when you by yourself, that's
Okay.
weird. When you're driving by yourself and you act like you're jamming, but you're going.
Or I think
Sorry.
people probably recently watched that Outbreak movie and they misinterpret what airborne virus means or something like that. They think like you're just walking around breathing it in and stuff. I'm like, no.
Yeah, when this started, I had a Facebook friend say like, "Y'all, do y'all not realize the air is poison outside?" And I was like, "It's not quite that bad."
But the thing is, nobody knows what the hell is going on. Like Obi and I had a whole conversation last night about it. It's like, they go back and forth about like how you can actually get it. What, first it was everything's on the surface. Everything you touch has to be sanitized. And we all went crazy, Lysoling everything. And Lysol.
Yeah,
I get that. I get that the information is confusing from the top. I get that. But there's a level of conspiracy theory that these women right here go to that you're like, how the hell can you think that way?
Yeah, they're like delusional, like making up like a whole storyline that never even was a part of the story.
Yeah, and like all of a sudden they're like civil rights experts and lawyers and all that. I'm like, bitch, you don't know anything.
It's that. I mean, I don't even think they believe what they're saying. I think. I mean,
the
with
devil's laws.
stuff,
she said it.
Okay, she believes it. Yes, the religious aspect, because people believe that. But I think that, like, I'm thinking of the Party City lady. I don't think she believes that her rights are being trampled. I think that she has seen that that's in the zeitgeist, that we're having a conversation about rights, and she's learning and adapting and saying, if I say these specific words, maybe I'll get my way. It feels so gross and
it's people are really taking like public health or social issues and they really want to make it political. Like this isn't that like
that's weird.
As much because she's in that Party City incident, she's really thinking that she's standing up for like her conservative views. Like, no, this is like and the people that work there are like, this is a safety issue. This who cares what your political affiliation is? This is just safety.
I feel like we all got raised on. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we all got raised on stories that like Star Wars that were like fight against the system, fight the empire, and some people understood those stories were talking about like fascist regimes, and some people have a really stupid interpretation of that, and they think that what you're saying, Obi, they think that they're fighting the power, like they think they're revolutionary.
Anyway, because you know what I've been really thinking about since like I'm seeing so much like pushback against wearing masks or getting tested. So we're all here waiting for like a vaccine to show up. Like, how many people? What do you think the percentage of people are going to actually get this vaccine when we actually get it? Because if people are fighting, when people are actually fighting just to put on a simple mask, imagine something that's invasive where you're going to have to take a vaccine and get it. Like you're going to have to put
and not know what it really could do.
Yeah, and we're like the beta version for it because we're the first one to kind of use this. It's scary because I feel like 50%. I feel like it's like at 50% of the people are not going to even use it. So we could even open up
right here. Like, who would get a vaccine? I probably wouldn't be the first round of vaccine. Not gonna lie.
No, rich people gonna get it. Tom Hanks is gonna get it. Athletes are gonna get it.
Let's say just let's
get it.
Let's take a small test, like just in our convo. Which one of us are gonna like volunteer to get the vaccine?
I'm not.
Right away.
I'm on the fence. I will get the vaccine when it comes out.
Not the first batch. I'm not getting that first batch.
They test the first batch. It's not like a PlayStation.
Yeah, they tested
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But that's what I mean.
I have more at stake. Put it that way.
We couldn't even get the majority on this podcast to get the vaccine. So it's kind of like, but they're going to use this once the vaccine comes out. Everything is back open. Like, we're back. They're going to go with the logic that everything's back to normal. We have a vaccine. We're back to, but half the population is afraid of this vaccine to begin with. So what are we really doing at that point? It's like, are we gonna, when we go to that stage, are we gonna go through a shutdown again? because we're gonna have more spikes in coronavirus because people are too afraid of the vaccine. Like, it's weird. Like when you start looking further down the line, how things are gonna affect us.
Well, I mean, even if we do get a vaccine, the virus is still out there. Like, you can still get it. Like, I've gotten the flu. Like, when I was in the Navy, the first 2 years I was in the Navy, I was told I had to get the flu vaccine, right? A week after I got it, I got the flu. Maybe the vaccine, like, maybe made it less worse, or it didn't kill me. I don't know, right? But there's the last 2 years I was in the Navy, I didn't get the flu vaccine. Never got the flu. So, you know, like the whole thing with the vaccine, like whether you get it or not, or we get one for the coronavirus or not, like the virus is still out there until it's eradicated. Like you're going to get it either way, whether the vaccine lessens those things for those people that have pre-existing conditions or don't even know they have an underlying one. It could save their life, but we don't know that until that happens. So it is a dice. It's a dice roll of the dice.
I'm with Kim on that. I don't think there will be another normal after this. I think things have changed. Things have changed so much that, like you said, some people will be like, "Look, I don't trust this vaccine." Just like people don't trust, you know, is it the HPV one? People say cause autism or whatever.
Yeah. That's not true.
Yeah, but you know, people believe that.
People don't trust them.
People believe that shit.
People don't trust the flu vaccine, the flu shot. Like they think that causes autism.
If you can make people believe in the Mormon religion and the earth is flat, a vaccine is not that far-fetched of an idea, even if it actually works.
I think I'm always biased with this because I was like raised by a nurse who I just constantly heard complain about people not believing in medicine. So I'm just like always like, no, it's fine. But I will say, I just Googled this because I was curious about herd immunity. And it looks like 70 to 80% if a 70 to 80% of a population gets the vaccine, then the risk for everyone goes down dramatically. But I mean, like, I don't know. By the way, the reason you probably got the flu a week after getting the flu vaccine, you may have gotten just symptoms from the vaccine because the vaccine is a small amount of it. But I mean, I don't know.
I know as much as I could look up on Google, you know what I mean? Like but it was interesting. Like I was like, man, like this is what the flu feels like, but it doesn't, like, could it have been worse if I didn't have this vaccine? Like
that's the thing.
Well,
it's a weird thing.
Like overall, do you guys, when experts come out and present facts, like whether it's they're doctors or lawyers or don't trust politicians, but they actually come out and say, look, I know what I'm talking about, and this is how it is. In general, do you actually trust it? Trust the experts? Or do you just go, no, I don't know. I want to look it up for myself. And
in general, I do believe an expert in that field. Like if that person's like the director of CDC, like, yes, I will, because who else am I going to trust? Like at that point, I'll go onto their site and I'll look for myself to kind of make sure it just doesn't look glaringly like incorrect. But yes, I tend to trust experts.
Like in that moment, but I feel like that's what is the problem. It keeps changing. So even the experts, like they don't even know what the hell is going on. So like to me, I don't trust it. I'm like, let me wait this out and see what's really going on.
Did you do your own research then?
Yeah, but there's usually not like a lot of differing opinions because usually that's the most we know.
I feel like when it comes
go ahead.
I feel like the idea of doing our own research is a myth. I don't think that it actually exists. I think that there is no way that any of us have access to the amount of information and data that professionals do, or that we can synthesize it.
Like to interpret the data in a different way. We don't have the data. We just have already somebody's interpretation.
Right. I mean, I guess I'm just weighing in to say, you're right that like the expert advice on Corona has been back and forth. And I feel like it's really unfortunate because it does shake confidence. But ultimately, I am with Obi on this one, that there is kind of a death in the trust of experts. But like, as much as I'm going to ask someone to help me set up I didn't set up this stream, but when I do my own streams, I ask friends who know what they're doing. And I ask, IT guys, I ask HVAC guys to fix my AC. I'm going to ask a doctor, and a responsible doctor, a good doctor, is going to tell you the risks of a vaccine and ask about your family history and work through it with you so that you know the choice you're making. But
those are good points. Like if that's all you have, maybe you're hesitant, but ultimately you have to kind of give in and lean in at some point a little bit. I think there's so many people though in society right this second that anything that anybody says, they're just trying to debunk it. Like everything.
It's fake news.
I mean,
Sorry, I didn't
but
get a
if-
good Trump.
but- no,
That's
but
a
if
good
you
point.
think about it too, like, our generation, the couple generations before us, and like, we've been pretty spoiled when it comes to like curbing like any kind of like diseases or anything like that. Like we've never had something like this to where it's completely unknown to us on when it's going to end, how it's going to end, what vaccine will work, what won't work, how does it spread? Like we're in this weird, purgatory, if you will, of like what the hell do we do next? Like, do we live our lives, or do we live our lives differently? Like, and it's a pushback of, all right, I want to try and live my life, but now I got to do it differently. And then now that I do it differently, it doesn't feel the same. So now it's a whole different lifestyle for everybody, and it's a rapid change, and it's happening really quick to where people are just not able to adjust as quick as this thing has been changing everybody's lives.
Well, you know what?
Since this pandemic has started, who here has gotten a test at least one time? Like, back, have you been tested? You haven't been tested yet?
No, not yet. It's my bad.
Alex, Adam, I mean, you have?
I think we're at the same spot.
Is it? Because I don't know if it's society just like not trusting science anymore, or what? Because I did a whole post, and me and Lane had a nice long phone conversation about this afterwards, because we kind of were on polar opposites of the way of how we look at testing. And I was telling Lane yesterday that whether the test comes back negative or positive, you should have some kind of baseline to know where you stand at that moment. Like I don't see any kind of upside to not getting the test at all. Like, you either get the test, you're going to be negative, and then you kind of, okay, I'm kind of safe to kind of go near my mom that has a past history of breast cancer or something, or I am positive, I'm going to go through the whole guidelines of quarantining, and I'll make sure I don't risk somebody else that might be more like compromised than I am. Like, it's just I see no harm in getting a test.
No, it's just
I totally agree.
Because it's funny to me because I think of it like when you think of like STD testing, like who you've been with.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like, and it's like kind of like a lot to do with. For me, it was. I just didn't see it advertised anywhere for being free, like in anywhere close proximity to me. I live in South Austin. So I did Google it today, and I called one of the clinics that was advertising that they were doing it. And then they said, you have to show your insurance. Of course, I have, plenty of good insurance, so it's not a big deal. But I couldn't even get in. They said that it opens up at midnight, and that's what the deadline for the day is, and they don't take any walk-ins.
Wait, what if you don't have insurance? You just lost your job. You lost your insurance.
What does it mean? Like, a lot of people are in that situation.
But
the one testing's free.
Yeah, the one I went to was free. I didn't pay any money. I didn't have any symptoms, and they were open from 10 a.m. to midnight.
I don't think it's that readily advertised.
But I've seen, like, I had a friend that is in Houston, and she said she went to 6 different places and was turned away from all of them. And even my other coworker that was in South Austin, he went but was turned away because he was asymptomatic. So I feel like maybe some places are. But try again at least, or just to I don't know why these places would turn people away at this point, but
do it before Trump is cutting funding to testing in
so where we actually have a test,
I'm dropping this link in the chat real quick. But this is where I went, and this is just the city. Drove up to St. John's on 35. That's about 10 minutes from my house, and I was home within 30 minutes of leaving my front door.
That's a good story because I just don't want to sit in a freaking line.
I was prepared to wait in line, and there was only 3 cars in the testing center. 3. I was like, oh, I was here thinking I'm gonna be here for an hour or 2 because the line's gonna be so bad because the spike. No, there's only 3 cars. I feel like, so I'm like, why are people not coming out and getting a test? And on top of it, it's free. So
but if you
just,
Google it,
You don't have to get out of your car either, right?
no, I didn't have to get out of my car.
You know, and it doesn't like pull up, it doesn't say like free, you know, so like, of course, like I have you giving me that information, but so I understand that it is, but it's not like it's blasted out, like come get it for free, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the city's SEO sucking, honestly. But like, and Kim in the chat, I wanted to say, yeah, I accidentally replied to you with that link. I meant to drop it in the general chat, so I deleted it. But
yeah, Echo said he signed up for the same link that you just posted. So yeah,
Go get tested.
I mean, it's not, it sucks. It's not fun to get the test, but it is nice. It was nice seeing negative on my results and being like, cool, I didn't get it from the protest. I can go back out there, you know?
I think definitely shocked about anybody in a big audience should, or a large crowd should do it.
And that's the crazy. I was shocked my test came back negative because I was in like a week of protests, and I was for sure like, man, I've been around so many. I marched up and down I-35 all around downtown, but I never took my mask off for a second, like unless I was like sipping water from underneath my mask or something. And I was good to go. So I'm like, this mask to me is working like a charm because I'm high risk, but I'm wearing my mask the moment I step out of my house, and I'm not getting this virus.
I was just told my sister just came to town, and she told me that the plane lands. You know how the plane lands, but people get up and start getting their shit.
Oh my!
And then they stand there, and the door's not open yet. You know, those stupid motherfuckers.
The people who fucking get up and try to get. Where are you going?
Exactly.
Yes.
So she was like, everybody. The plane landed. Everybody got up and and just like stood in the aisle, like just an inch away from each other, with masks on, but no distancing whatsoever in the plane.
Yeah, I heard they're not even doing like the seat empty in between like they said they were. And then I'm scared personally. Like I want to go travel so bad. And one of my friends just went to Mexico last week, and I'm like, shoot, I should just do the same.
Mexico? I know, no offense to, but really?
But like at a beach, you know, just hang out, Cancun. Somebody brings you drinks all day. Like it's better.
Yeah.
But Lane, you already missed all the cheap tickets. The prices are back to normal now.
Oh,
well,
really?
I still have $1,500 in flight credits to use, so I'm good.
She's ready to go.
Like, what would be your first destination when this is over?
Well, my trip in May was supposed to be Cuba. So I'm actually probably going to go to Costa Rica, though, because I love Costa Rica. So work from here. I don't have to be anywhere.
That's where me and the fiance are planning on going for honeymoon next year. So.
Hey, I
you
love
mean 2 years from now?
But think about how
don't say that shit.
But think about how ass backwards we are from it. Because remember when this first started and Trump banned international travel to Europe, like, oh, we're not gonna let any of y'all come back in. Now they banned us. We can't even go over there, like, because we're the hot spot.
In New York,
we can even go. We can even go to New York, or New Jersey. You know how bad things are that they're kicking us out of New Jersey.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I had a friend.
Everybody come here.
I had a friend talking to me about when this all first started. He's like, how did leadership we obviously know that leadership is corrupt and fucked up and did not make choices based on what would protect people. But that aside, how did people not take this seriously from the jump? When China, you can see satellite pictures of China and see the smog cleared because people aren't working in a country that is notorious for overworking people. A country that is a place that we know that the commutes to work in parts of China to get into the city are insane. For that country to shut down, that should tell you something right there.
Yeah,
Like, if they're taking it seriously, why the fuck aren't we?
Yeah,
anyway,
it was a hesitation to pulling the trigger of just like, all right, we're just gonna do it. We'll figure it out. Like, but we need to pull the trigger because, like you said, Adam, like every other country in the world just said, I mean, you ain't leaving. Like,
I've been quicker on the draw with fucking eBay bids. You know, if I don't make this bid now, I lose this item. Come on.
No, but it's nuts because I think it's really embarrassing. Because other countries are like, hey, we get to go to the movie theater again. We get to go to the park and we get to the restaurant and the cafes and all that stuff. Meanwhile, just because some people thought that, oh, it's just my rights, it's my freedom and blah, 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 USA, I want to get a haircut and then whatever. Now, fuck it up for everybody. It only takes a few to fuck it up for everybody. That's the thing. I think, I really think that most people respected it. But all it takes, and there was I think I saw an article about how it wasn't the protest that actually spiked
I think
the numbers.
Adam posted that earlier. I saw that today or yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't the protest that spiked up the numbers.
I shared that.
But it was the reopening up of the government.
I think that's important to remember, not only because kind of logistically it's helpful that if you're outdoors and you're wearing a mask, it's much less likely. But also because you can see that coming from the GOP side of things to blame protesters and make it seem irresponsible. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I was nervous to go out there because I didn't want to endanger others by being there. And now I feel more empowered to be out there as long as I'm not, walking around HEB without a mask, coughing on people. Or like going back to Karen's, that video of that woman who got mad because the coffee place wanted her to wear a mask and she coughed at the cashier. Yeah. Anyway, not to take it back to a negative space, but
okay. I think more Karens need to come out because then we know who they are.
Yeah, that's
I like that. Release the Karens.
You know what? I've been saying that, man. Like, you wanna if that's who you are, let me know.
Yes.
Like, let me know who you are. Like, you want to roll around with a Confederate flag sticker? You're cheering for a participation trophy. You know, it's an insurrectionist flag. Like, I don't know why people even want to fly. Like, it's a symbol of an idealistic of a movement to try and suppress people to being owned, right? Why would you want it? Like, why would you want to represent that? Like, I don't understand it. Like,
it's all history, man.
Dude, no, it's a part of our history, but it doesn't mean you gotta like fly it. Like with the whole thing with like Talladega recently had their race, right? And there was a whole thing with Bubba Wallace and stuff like that. Yeah. But NASCAR recently banned for NASCAR to ban that flag, that's huge. Right? I mean, like, that's
half
huge.
Their freaking audience. Yeah.
More than half.
Yeah, their whole.
And the thing about it, like, the crazy thing, and I don't know if you saw it, but a group of protesters were out in front of Talladega waving their Confederate flags, and they even purchased an airplane to fly a Confederate flag, those like ad banner things over Talladega, this motor speedway.
Yeah, but
I'm like, what? I just don't.
You really think
people just be
that black people are going to be NASCAR drivers because they take the Confederate flag?
You should have seen how many people were around.
The crowd that showed up over there was pretty.
There was a lot. Yeah, it was big.
Think about it. NASCAR has done more in like 1 week for Bubba Wallace than the NFL has done for Colin Kaepernick in 4 years.
Crazy.
Think about how that's the most. It's like we're on Earth 2 right now, like an alternate universe. Like what? How did the timeline get so whack where NASCAR's doing so much more for black injustices than NFL, where almost like 70% of it is black. It's just like,
that's the thing. Like, when you think about it, okay, NASCAR's audience, I'm sorry, but I don't know how many black people go to NASCAR like races, but I think it's majority, right?
I'll say this. I've been to one in Dallas, the Texas Motor Speedway, and I was the darkest person there. That I was in my
holy shit. Obi, we gotta go.
Like, it was
that's
fun.
like, actually, they're what we were just talking about, their audience. Could directly affect their business, but they're still willing to say, like, hard foot in the sand, like, this isn't an okay, and we're going to ban this. So that's like a really big deal. When you then the NFL, you go on that side of it, and it's like the majority of the players are black, and so why wouldn't you protect your own union of people that you're supporting.
Because even when they're being progressive,
because
they're
the
going to protect
narrative,
the white allies before they protect the actual black
because,
people who are being affected. I
yeah,
mean,
well,
I feel like
the
comparing
narrative with the whole Colin Kaepernick thing was shifted so quickly and to such a very specific thing that touched on a lot of people's hearts and minds, but for the wrong reasons. Like, you know, like it was for the wrong reasons. Half the people that were up at arms about the protests, you know, were using the excuse of the troops, and I would say almost 90% of those people never served, never took an oath. I mean, the population of this country that actually does serve in the military, and I'm not saying it because I did, is like less than 2%.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to speak on your behalf.
The other like 98 people, the other 98% of the people that were making the whole protests against the flag and military troops and stuff like that, they have like a great grandfather that served in World War II. You know, Drew Brees.
I mean,
you know, like it's just like they use. It's just like the narrative got shifted really quickly, and NASCAR nipped it in
conversations
the bud before it
about
even got crazy.
Can we normalize calling the people who want to fly the Confederate flag like there's a lot of toxic bullshit there, and there's a lot of really dangerous, violent shit there. But also, can we normalize just calling these people dorks?
I'm okay with that.
Find out his name like Chad.
Dorks. Are you serious?
What's the
But I was trying to think of like the source of it, because like we all hear their excuse. So like, you're trying to take my heritage or my history. They're trying to erase our history. But like like nobody goes to like a statue or looks to and that's you read history from that. We learned that from classrooms, from colleges. So like the fact that you want this monument or you want this flag and you think just by removing it, nobody's gonna ever remember what that stood for. We remember it. Like I don't it's the Berlin Wall doesn't exist, but everybody knows exactly what that was. It's just like.
And that's actually a perfect example, because we remember the Berlin Wall through the quote about tearing it down to make a better future.
Yes.
I remember watching that on TV. That was pretty epic. Like I remember watching that.
Tear down this wall.
Yep. Craziness. Crazy times.
It's that's when you actually had that's when you actually had a leader that you know got said something to actually try and incite something to change, not just to fan the flame of fear or just whatever this president tries to fan the flames on. It's just you don't even know what the hell he's gonna do next. Like it's just it's a reality TV show.
He's a very.
Let me ask y'all this. So the new one. So now that everybody is trying to be progressive and everything, the one that came up, I saw that today, is we need to change the national anthem from the Star Spangled Banner to John Lennon's Imagine.
No.
So there's two. No, there are two. No, seriously, this is funny. So there's two black guys. One of them is the author. The other one I think is I forgot, but like either like a professor or a politician, whatever. But they're like, yeah, we should change the Star Spangled Banner because it was written by Francis Scott Key, who was a slave owner who believed that black people were, fifth of a man and all that stuff. He was a racist, and he had his wife.
Well, you got to read the entire poem.
Yeah. If you go all the way, it gets crazy. Yeah.
The national anthem is cherry picked from that. So,
but anyway, so this is the new thing. They're saying, yeah, we need to replace the Star Spangled Banner with John Lennon's Imagine.
The reason I laughed there is not because I just want to say I'm not laughing at the idea of replacing the Star Spangled Banner. Fine, replace it. If it was written by, if we needed, I have like personally, whatever, change it. But Imagine by John Lennon? No.
What you represent?
Okay, first of all, John Lennon was a wife beater, okay? So like you're not gonna like what are you moving to?
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, but along the same lines too, with that if we're gonna start changing these past things that were offensive, like Lady Antebellum changed their group name to Lady A. because they didn't want to bring up Antebellum anymore, or in Dixie Chicks today.
Yeah,
remove
the Chicks is kinda
Dixie
weird,
from
though.
they're called the Chicks now, which I
That's-
mean, since it's their name, I guess whatever makes you. Do you think it's people are kind of going too extreme, like by
It's
finishing,
getting,
like
I think it's getting a little
I think
too.
It's brownie points
much.
at this point. It's like,
I'll agree.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit too much. It's your own group, so
all right, let me
whatever.
go. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say you can even take like giving, the corporate America thing with Juneteenth, like where they were giving people off and making it a national holiday, or like a corporate holiday. Excuse me, not a national holiday. But and then it's like, okay, well, people are arguing back, like, well, what about like leadership roles? Like, let's look at our leadership board and what is white versus not. Just taking a look at that, like that's what matters, not like, oh, give us the holiday off. I understand that people need a break for what's going on right now in the racial tensions, but I'm just using that as another example.
Yeah, let's go around the room. I mean, what would you replace national anthem if it's not Imagine?
Oh, did you see Echo Scout?
They got to be DMX joint.
DMX catalog.
Not gonna make me lose my mind.
No, I replace it with Thong Song.
Oh, well, it's got to be a song that resonates with everybody.
Isn't Cisco just the American dream come true?
Yeah. I don't know.
I just pulled that out of nothing. I mean nothing with that statement.
Let's think about it. So
I have an answer.
Journey's too white.
Good one here.
It can be This Is How We Do It because that's too black. It can be Eddie Daddy Yankee joint because it's got to be a song that every ethnicity, every group in this country likes.
Yo, Bieber, yummy.
What?
He's Canadian, man.
That's treason, Obi.
The Electric Slide.
He's Canadian. That's the best response.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, I'm joking. I don't know.
It's got to be somebody.
Different cultures.
Nobody's gonna change it.
I got an answer. Perfect. Track 10 on 1999 by Prince, Free.
Joanna says, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. That actually, I think that might be the unofficial anthem.
You think black people like Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, I like.
You know
Bohemian
what?
Rhapsody.
I think it should be a Michael Jackson song because he's black and white, and then he transitioned, and everybody likes everybody.
That's what I'm saying. Prince, Free. The song "Free" by Prince. Y'all know this song?
It's a great song.
I don't know it honestly.
That you are free. There's many who's not.
Hey, Prince.
No,
Prince
everyone's against this.
Prince is the last best Super Bowl halftime show. I will say that.
That is true. I'll give you
Okay, I have another. I wanted to bring up this other topic that I've been seeing going on this week. So Jimmy Fallon got in some trouble this week for impersonating blackface on an old sketch he did about 20 years ago.
Really? I heard about that.
And the same thing with Robert Downey Jr. with doing blackface in Tropic Thunder.
That was the whole point of the movie, though.
Yeah, that was. I think so. It's like I know my take on it. Like, what do you think when people use blackface in entertainment? Like, do you think it's appropriate for us to like start this whole cancel culture on them? Like, no, that was a horrible thing because the way the world has changed now, like. It's like, to me, I feel like it's revisionist history. Like everything, if they did it at the time and everybody was okay with it and we all laughed and thought it wasn't intended as a racist kind of thing, let it be that. This is and it's an art form. People express things like sometimes every joke doesn't hit, but we can't go back and start like editing bad thing things and start punishing people. Like, that's my take.
Yeah, did someone actually it went up on Twitter? Someone, look at what Jimmy Fallon did back in the 20 years.
Yeah, I think it got buried because he came out and he issued an apology because he wasn't gonna apologize for it for the longest time, but he said he wanted to apologize because he was sympathizing with he wanted to call these other people out for Trump like on his racist remarks, but he had to acknowledge like that he did this blackface thing because he would look like a hypocrite.
Well, of course.
So that was kind of like his explanation. But it was more the Trump supporters saying, "Oh, how can you call the president out when you did this and all this stuff?" So he felt like he had to address it at some point. But honestly, I don't think he needed to. I feel like I feel like we should be smart enough to know that this is entertainment. Like Wayne's brothers did this with white chicks. They dressed up as white women, and it wasn't like they weren't. They weren't. Yeah, they weren't doing this as like a screw you white people. Like it's entertainment. At the time, we all thought it was hilarious. It was just like,
yeah,
should be left alone.
Well, it's just like we kind of talked about it last week where we touched on it. It's like all of a sudden, like everybody's a historian, or they're able to like all of a sudden they're like smarter because like now like the song that we grew up, getting on our bicycles to chase the ice cream man. Now like all of a sudden everybody knows that song is completely like racially driven, and now like everybody's talking about the Eyes of Texas, this Texas University of Texas school song. Like everybody, like players are wanting them to change that now because it's rooted in racism. And like now all of a sudden, people that used to sing those songs, chase the ice cream man, watch Tropic Thunder, watch that skit Jimmy Fallon playing Chris Rock, which Chris Rock I think came in his defense about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like now all of a sudden everybody's so like hyper sensitive to it. They got to like say something about it to call people out. But like it's like, dude, you got to look within yourself, because if you're gonna like get on Twitter and start like blasting people for doing stuff they did 20 years ago, then don't watch movies like Tropic Thunder, laugh at that skit that Jimmy Fallon did or anything like that. And then all of a sudden now you're trying to be on the right side of history whenever you were kind of part of that, of that process of, making those things famous or well known or whatever. So I don't know.
There is such a thing as growth. Like obviously 20 years ago, I don't think any of us were the same person we were today. Thank gosh,
Speak for yourself. I ain't changed shit.
That's a perfect way to explain it. That's exactly
true.
that.
Yeah.
It's growth. Like, how do you expect
You
people to
like
evolve and grow? Like we make mistakes. Like the creator can make a mistake, the audience can make a mistake, but we grow from that. That's how we improve the world and stuff like that.
And it's not a crime. I mean, what Cosby did way back, that was fucked up, and he pays for it today. But if it's not a crime, I mean, let it fucking go. When you get to a point where people, I mean, I'm always wonder who are these people who actually go like they scroll down someone's Twitter feed and find some shit from like 10 years ago who actually does research. Like, I'm just going to troll the shit out of this person and destroy his or her career just because I can and I got nothing else to do.
Well, it's probably because they have nothing else to do, because they lost their job, they're frustrated, they're upset, they can't go outside, they got to wear a mask everywhere. It has to come from it's coming from inside. We kind of touched on it earlier. Like it comes from something inside of us, or those of the people that we're talking about that want to like bring people down and stuff like that. There's something rooted within themselves, that's something wrong with them that they are not wanting to look within to figure it out or fix. So it's like, all right, what can I do to project my anger or my hatred?
Your life is shitty if that's what you do all day.
But dude, like, and I've kind of touched on it before. Like, I mean, I'm current. I've gone through a 12-step program, and a lot of the stuff that I've gone through. I mean, people that have hurt me, people I've hurt, whatever category you would put it in, I had a part in all of that. And until I owned my part, then I was able to become free of it and move forward and ask for forgiveness and be able to forgive other people that did me wrong. But it has to come from within. When people don't want to do that, for one, it's really uncomfortable. Nobody wants to. But once you start doing it, man, the freedom from it is great. And a lot of people are just not wanting to put that work into it.
But I think
taking your own inventory.
I think it's a different thing when it comes to comedy, though. Because what happened with Kevin Hart, right? Echo just brought it up in the comment. Something along the lines like, if my son was gay, like I would, with some shit like that, and then he lost the Oscars because of that. And you're like, well, like I personally will, I will never knock down the attempt at trying to be funny. it can bomb horribly, and you deal with the consequences of it. But if your intentions would look, I'm just trying to be funny, just like anybody. I mean, I think some of the funniest people are just random ass people making memes all day. You know, people on Twitter who just posting things, and I'm like, the people in the comments sometimes I'm like, wow, this is like if you had a one like punchline you on stage, that would kill right here. But and there's a line, you don't know where that line is, and sometimes you step on the other side and you get blasted in the face, and that's what happens. You deal with the consequences. Whether you want to apologize, you want to stick by your attempt at a joke, that's up to you. But the consequences are real. And if that means you're going to, lose your gig or lose your job or lose your career or whatever, then that's what you get.
Do we have I think that, oh man, I want to say a few things here, because on the one hand, talking about things like blackface in media, I do agree that if you remove it, it still exists. It still happens. Right. And that is dishonest in a way. Something like, it's also context. Because something like Tropic Thunder, as I forget who said it in this group, the whole joke in Tropic Thunder is that white actors are so self-serious, they think they can play anyone. It's like a riff on Scarlett Johansson, this white actress who is going to play every ethnicity because she's an actress. That's the joke. It's making fun of, it's satire. It's making fun of the racist. Versus other forms of blackface, which are actually are hateful and maybe derived from this history of painful minstrelsy in American pop culture. And there's
like doing blackface for Halloween.
Yes.
Kind of offensive.
Because in that case, the joke is that you're a black person, versus Robert Downey Jr. The joke is that he's an arrogant white person who thinks he can be a black person.
Bingo, exactly.
Yeah, I just think, it's kind of like people take the surface of it. Like whenever they see something posted on Facebook, they just read the headline and that's what they take it. They take it at face value and not try and dive deep into it and understand what the writing or the underpinnings of what this is.
Like people don't get nuance. Like I feel like people just think things are just like black and white. Like there's no gray in between. Yeah, there's nuance with things. So
yeah, it's historical, and it befits us and benefits us to talk about that. I am not someone who gets overly I belong to some movie collectors groups on Facebook, and some of these dudes, they're like white dudes in their 40s who collect tapes, right? And they post things like, you can never make this movie nowadays. And it reads a little problematic to me, because it was like, oh, what you're saying is you can't make fun of gay people now, and you missed that for some reason. That's weird. But also, at the same time, I'm completely losing my thought here. At the same time, they'll be like, oh, HBO removed Gone with the Wind. And my thought is they removed it because of a racist caricature of this woman who won an Academy Award and was the first black actress to win an Academy Award. So instead of removing it, why don't we just say, hey, before you watch this, we'd like you to know a few historical facts? Because I'm all for change. I'm all for, hey, if it's a microaggression that's out there in the world that makes someone feel like they're not, little things that make people feel like reminders of painful generational trauma that make them feel not comfortable, fucking change it. But I think I'm just trying to, in a long-winded way, agree with Obi here that if there's context, talk about it. Don't change it because you're not getting anywhere then. You're just talk about it. And by the way, I'm 100% not referring to statues. Tear them all down.
I listened to this. I used to listen to this radio show, this podcast, and this guy, the host, he didn't even realize his what he's saying is so problematic, because when Ghostbusters came out and then they announced there's going to be a reboot, his comment to it, he's like, oh, let me guess, it's going to be all female this time, and they'll probably be all black this time or something, and then they'll announce another reboot. Oh, let me guess, the family's going to be black this time. And it would be time after time he'll say this, and he thinks he's just joking around, but it was like, this you're creating a very hurtful kind of thing. Because think about it, back in the 80s, was the black community saying oh, this movie Jurassic Park is coming out, let me guess, is it going to be an all-white cast? Or hey, E.T.'s coming out, let me guess, is it going to be an all-white film? We didn't do that. That's why these movies, when you see like they'll brand it as like a black movie. But think about it from our point of view. Most of the films that have been made in Hollywood have all featured like primarily white casts. So any time when we want to see a film that has like us primarily featured in like a Black Panther, that's a big deal to us, because we most of our life we watch it with another race portraying those things, and we don't look at it negatively. We want to be those people. We want to be Captain America. We want to be Die Hard or all these people. But it's sometimes. But I feel like there's a side of America whenever there's another push like Crazy Rich Asians, whenever another race wants to kind of see themselves on screen, they look at it like we're trying to change them or something. No, we're just trying to be included. We just want to see ourselves sometimes. Like we see you all the time. Like
in all fairness, the second Ghostbusters with all the women sucked.
No, it was better than Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2 is a bad movie.
Yeah, but the all female one, I'm sorry. It was
no, it was solid. I liked it. Okay, I liked it. But Obi, I mean, like,
I agree with what you're saying.
Yes, like, dude. I mean, I know I'm a white guy here, but like, when I see white movie fans on the internet saying shit like that, oh, let me guess. I'm like, dude, there are like black children out there who don't have a hero in their movie to pretend to be. And they have to pretend to be someone who doesn't look like them. We fucking have Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker, John McClane, Indiana Jones.
Everyone.
We have enough.
Everybody.
We have
Superman,
enough.
Batman, Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man is black now.
To be
so is
fair,
Captain America.
To be fair, if you actually look at Captain America's uniform, it actually looks like the Puerto Rican flag. So he's ours.
I would claim
Cap is black now because he gave the shield to Sam, and that was the move in the comics. The comics always beat it, but I'm as a nerd who engages in this shit online. Maybe I'm just venting too much, but oh my God, do I get tired of white people who are like, oh, let me guess, they're gonna put black people in it, and I'm like, yeah, because black people exist in America. What you have so many movies, dude.
Okay, great segue to you want to talk about Disneyland.
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Wait, no the heck.
You going Lion King?
I'm ready to talk about Disneyland now. Yes.
All right, so Disneyland, they're renaming was it Splash Mountain to the Princess and the Frog?
Yeah.
But are they changing anything about it? Or is it the same ride?
They're gonna do a full. Okay, so it's the guy who designed the original Splash Mountain. He's an OG Disney Imagineer, responsible for some of the best rides at the parks. Okay, so they're gonna redo Splash Mountain, which is based on the 1943 film Song of the South, which is a movie that is just full of stereotypes. It's an interesting, again, like we were talking about.
Never make it today.
They'd never make this movie, but actually it was unpopular in its time. Like actually the reviews of it were negative in its time because even then people were like anyway, Song of South is the basis for the Splash Mountain ride. I love Disney parks. I love Disneyland. I've been on Splash Mountain several times. I love the ride. But
who has been to Disneyland? I have never been there.
Oh man, it's the best.
I just went recently.
Just went. Okay, as an adult, is it recommended? Sorry, I was like trying.
Yes.
Oh, it's better as an adult.
I recommend. I thought it was. I was like, oh, this is way better. I don't know why it took me so long to come here.
Okay, so I'll add it to my list.
Yeah,
go ahead, Adam.
Oh, and real quick, just shout out to Kim in the comments again here with the rom-coms. Exactly, like why are there not rom-coms and horror movies and action movies with all black cast? It shouldn't be a news item. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's beside the point. Disneyland. So they're changing it. Now it's going to be based on The Princess and the Frog. I got to say, this means that a thrill ride, it's a dark ride and a thrill ride. A dark ride is a ride that you go into. It's like they're animatronics. You're in the dark. It moves slow. And it's a thrill ride because it's got a big drop into water. To me, this is a perfect metaphor for positive change because there's going to be white people who are nostalgic for the ride, right? And they're holding on to this comfort. I remember this ride. It makes me feel comforted to remember it. I can identify with that. I've been on the ride as a kid and as an adult. It has a certain value to me. But that's not worth people showing up to Disneyland and being able to go on a ride that doesn't remind them of racist caricatures and stereotypes. So like Black families getting to go to Disneyland and not have to deal with that and explain it to their kids and getting to go on a fun ride, that's a fucking plus sign. Also, it's going to be redesigned by ride engineers in 2020. This is a ride that was debuted in 1993. Now it's 2020. That ride is going to be so much fucking cooler now. They're going to get in there and they're going to upgrade the mechanics. They're going to put in some dope animatronics, and we're going to get something better. I think that Splash Mountain is a perfect metaphor for how if we can get white people to get over their shared nostalgia for a past that feels safer and open themselves up to change, that we're going to get cooler, better rides for everybody. And that's my piece on Splash Mountain. Thank you for letting me.
Prepared and everything.
Disney's to pay.
Been thinking about it all day.
Adam, I think your phone's ringing. Disney's calling.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, right.
Finally.
He's been waiting for this call his entire life.
All right.
That's cool.
No, but I thought that there's this other. I like what Jenny Slate did. I don't even watch Big Mouth on Netflix. I think it is. It's Nick Kroll's animated series thing. And she's like, she voiced.
Alex, that's the perfect description.
Wait, what'd you say?
That
just Alex saying that show is the
that
perfect
show,
description.
man.
What is it good?
It's good, but it's just so dirty and weird. It sums it up when he's like that show.
Well, you like it apparently, right?
No, I remember. So I remember when that show was first coming out. It was 2 years ago now. It was like two years ago. I was at ACL and I was out shooting photos or something like that, and all of a sudden I see a plane, like the plane with the ad trailing behind it, and it literally was a plane that said Andrew has a boner.
Oh,
and they were promoting the show.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
I remember that.
You remember
I thought
seeing
it was somebody
ACL?
playing practical
No,
joke
they
on
were
a friend.
promoting the show. They were promoting the show.
So it is good?
Yeah, it's hilarious, man.
All right, good to know.
Because when you watch it, you start thinking like, oh, damn. Because some of the stuff, you think like, man, I did think some of those things. Or you're like, ooh, you saw somebody do those things. It's like, you kind of like, you're like,
well, I like
some things are cringy, and some things I laugh really loud about.
So Jenny Slate, who voices the black character in that show, stepped down and said this should be voiced by a black actor, which is great. So whoever voices Cleveland, who's a white guy in the Cleveland show, and the Family Guy, replace him with somebody. Phil Lamar, I don't think is doing anything these days.
Those are actions that I feel like are a little bit more legit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
than what we were talking about with the dick.
Yeah.
No.
But kudos to her. Maybe Bart Simpson should be voiced by a kid. Not this middle-aged woman.
But there was I saw the polar opposite of like the
you know it.
Or I saw this was like actually a couple of weeks ago. This was a big debate because you know that movie with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart where he was a handicapped guy.
Yeah, based on a French movie.
They were like, how come you didn't get a real handicapped guy to play that role? There's so many real like SAG handicapped people, but it was like sometimes you want. Do you want someone that just exactly fits what the character describes, or do you want that
good actor,
the caliber actor to kind of really hit it home? Like it's
that's
speaking of adapting a French film and with using like black actors, like Ghost Dog was a French film that it got adapted with Forest Whitaker playing the lead. Yeah.
Is it Le Samurai? Is it a remake of Le Samurai?
No, I don't know how you say assassin in French, but
l'assassin.
Yeah, there was a French person over here. There was a French movie called The Assassin, which Ghost Dog was based off of.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That is cool.
Ghost Dog Way to Samurai is pretty dope, though.
Yeah. That's gonna get a Criterion release soon.
Granted, they added a lot more of the samurai stuff to it, but the basis of like the movie. It got it from that idea from that French film.
So
hey, it is. I just looked up the Wikipedia. It actually is Le Samurai, which is often translated as the assassin.
Le Samurai.
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't know that movie.
It's a good movie. You want me to go grab it off the shelf real quick?
I'm sure you have it in your stash or vault over there, man. This man has everything.
That's gonna be the next podcast. We'll just have Adam just grab a flick and we just Zoom call and just like audio commentate it, man. Just
seriously, a 2-hour episode would be just Adam touring his cave of wonders with all the DVDs and all the movies and the games and everything. Because you can pull anything. You can pull anything out of that vault.
Well, before we get to that episode, I have another topic I wanted to share with y'all.
Go for it, man. Just throw it out.
So, like, just by a show of hands, like, how many of us have been shocked by the comments of like one of somebody in our network like having a very different view than what we thought they were gonna have?
About
like
Black Lives Matter?
About anything, like, but about like COVID or Black Lives Matter or any of these. Have you been shocked by any of your friends in your network?
I wouldn't say shocked. I've been more surprised by the people that are so gung-ho about the support. Like, you know, I'm grateful that they are, as I'm talking about, obviously like a white person, really standing up for the Black Lives Matter movement and like doing their part. So to me, I've had a couple friends for sure that stood out. But then you have the people what shocks me, you're talking about shocking, is when you see people like that are so racist and they don't give a fuck about putting it so openly out on Facebook. And I'm like,
yeah, like that's like, have you seen any of those people in your network?
You know, anything like, I don't, and I actually didn't know any of these people that were commenting on other people's posts, but I was just flabbergasted. Like, if that's your relative or whatever, they're asked to be blocked if they were on my Facebook. But like, to just keep it there. Like, if people just keep there, just like let everybody else argue for them, they don't fight against their cousin. But then people just keep going and going and going. It's mostly about the all lives matter thing.
Yeah,
but.
because like I started thinking about this, like, because I've seen it too. Like some people that I would have never guessed that was like their viewpoint on some issues, and I've been like sitting at like, how did I miss this? And when you start to think about those people that are in your network, like think back to all the conversations you've ever had with them, like, and what I've noticed is we've only ever had like fluff conversations. Like, oh, how is the weather today? Or, oh,
what are you drinking?
What are you gonna do this weekend? Like, if you like the reason that it's shocking to us like right now is because we're not having deep of a conversation with those people. Like, we should have like at some point had deeper, meaningful.
Like, do you take it upon yourself to like who in here is going out and like saying, okay, I'm going to address this head on with that person and have this conversation, not online, but like.
Yeah, I have. I faced it head on. Like, I know some people are just going with the route of, no, I'm going to just delete this person or block them. But I'm just like.
Well, if you don't have the energy, that's totally understandable. But like, you know, but I feel like it is important for somebody to take that on. But then it's a struggle because some people are just so stuck in this like all lives matter thing that they just can't seem to understand the logistical standpoint of what Black Lives Matter means. And they're just and talking about like the God thing, like they stand so strong by this God thing, like to God all lives matter, and they bring in that argument. It's just so crazy. I don't know.
Oh, so
it's overwhelming.
I've actually thought about that point too, because what you just said, that they bring it to God, it's like you have to kind of really think about where people's moral compass like is really centered. Like everybody kind of has like, you would think that like, oh, everybody that we know all has like the same moral compass or thinks about things like from the exact point of view. But I've learned that it's not like that at all. Like, for example, like for me, the thing that I kind of base all the decisions I make in my life around is I always treat the thing I do is I treat people the way I want to be treated, the golden rule. That's kind of like at the center of what I believe in. So it goes into like work. Like I'll always treat people the way I want to be treated there, or with family or with friends, or just the way I see the world. I don't want to ever dish something out that I'm not willing to take myself. Even goes like to way of like even my enemies too. Like if I look at it, I look at the world the same way. Like if I murdered somebody, should I deserve the death penalty? And I'm like, yeah, I should. Like, if I'm willing to look at the opposite side and think the exact same way, then that's kind of how I center things. But some other people don't have that. That's not where they center everything at. Some people, they center everything on like God or love thy neighbor, and that doesn't actually and they could look at things kind of like that just means as long as love is in the aspect of what I'm doing, that's enough. They don't actually have to be as equal as me, but as long as I love them, that should be enough with this decision that I'm making. Or some people, their whole center of where they put their moral compass is like family. So no matter like they kind of go through life and they keep their inner circle super tight, where they like it. Those are the type of people that like kind of it takes them weeks for you to kind of get into their clique, and everything they do at work is more geared to I have to earn money for my family. I have to go do this for like. Do you know what I'm kind of saying? Like
well, I think there's level to this. There's one thing if you're taking social media as hey, this is how I interact with people. I mean, you can be friends with 4,000 people, but as far as like who your real friends are, I mean, they can fit in two hands, I think. But anyway, but it's one thing if the conversation happens there versus you just sitting around with a friend and they're just talking and all of a sudden you just blurt out, oh, all lives matter. And you go, what? Then you can have that conversation. That's different.
I've straight up yelled at, okay, I'm going to tell a story of, I was going to say a few years ago. First of all, Obi, again, 100%. I feel like I'm very agreeing with you very much tonight. But like the idea of love is almost like a shield from having to deal with something. You say, I love. No, it's all good. You don't have to acknowledge any actual problems because you love it, right? But love is work. Anyone who's been in a long-term relationship or had a child or even a puppy knows that love means effort, not grand. Like I don't say to my team at work or to my girlfriend, I love you, and then ignore them all day. So it's the same thing. Like, if you love, and even going back to what you're saying, Alex, about people misinterpreting religious messages, you talk about the kind of love that Jesus is preaching. That is action. So like that being aside, a few years ago, and 2016, actually 2015 now, 5 years ago, I was staying up late with a few friends who were visiting. One from my hometown, one of my best friends ever, and then another best friend who I met here who moved away. And we were getting drunk. We were hanging out. We were drinking whiskey. And we were, talking about the election. And I had a friend who was Bernie or bust at the time. He didn't want to vote for Hillary. Me and my other friend were like, hey, man, you got to vote against Trump. This guy's a crazy person. He's going to be a dictator. Please vote against him. And we started talking about the Black Lives Matter movement. And this is one of my best friends in the entire world. And he has changed. And speaking of growth, he has grown so much. But he said in that moment, Black Lives Matter, he said, I don't know where he got this from. He's from my hometown, different world, mostly white. He said, what about black on black crime? And I was drunk and I straight up yelled at him. I was like, you do not know what you're talking about. That's a racist ass thing to say. I'm going to break it down for you. And I got mad. And I think that I just want to say I love him. And I did not want to see him go to this dark place where he's making the fascist arguments for them. And that love drove me to yell at him. We're on amazing terms. I chat with him, text him every day, and he does not think that anymore. But for a few months in 2015, he thought it. And because I loved him and screamed at him, I changed his mind. You know what I mean? Like,
but you took it upon yourself.
That's my 2 cents there.
To do that.
Well, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? Let my friend believe some bullshit?
No. But that,
like him,
but the basis of it was this is your best friend.
Right.
And he was already at that level.
Right? Had a good foundation.
I don't feel like I need to educate every motherfucker I run into.
Oh, hell no.
Talk to. I don't need to do that.
Absolutely not. I block people.
They're also not going to listen because who are you to them, right? So like Adam's friend listened because that was his best friend.
But that's what I think the importance of what we're doing now, like what posting stuff on Facebook, like the message might fall flat if it comes from us, like because we're a perfect stranger to whoever that racist person is. But if it comes from somebody that they respect or that is their close like person or best friend, and they say, hey, no, I don't agree that is right, that might be what it takes for them to actually change their mind. Like I feel like the person that delivers the message is playing a big role in like getting people to change and unlearn things, in my opinion.
I always think about, if you're talking to a friend one-on-one, well, that's two friends hashing it up over a drink or candle. You know, if you don't drink, you know, a chill living room, whatever. That's two people one-on-one. If you do it online, that's two people yelling at each other in front of a junior high lunchroom. You know, like you're gonna get all these people who are like, yeah, get him, and you start to perform. You're not reaching out. You are performing for other people. You're saying, I'm your champion, people in the comments. Like my comments.
Well, people in comments, I don't even know if people are authentic. I feel like sometimes they're just like putting face, like, you know, like they're just trying to be like appropriate, but then not even appropriate, but say certain like things a certain way. But then when you really talk to them, that's not really what they think or how they feel. They're just putting on a show.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with that, because I remember, I don't know where I saw this video. It was from a church group, but it was this guy would kind of, the thing that he said, again, this is probably his opinion, but he was saying like, what you see people post on Facebook or Instagram or any kind of social media is like not even like 3% of what they really are.
It's the highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel. Exactly. You know, it's like that's like, you know, and it's gotten me, and I've kind of touched on this on past episodes where like I really don't post much anymore on Facebook. I mean, to the point my own fiance the other day,
she's like,
for lack of a better term, she like congratulated me. She's like, I'm really proud of you for not like posting or commenting.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say she wanted to be in your posts.
No, you didn't like a picture and then she gave you shit for it.
Well, I might get shit for not posting stuff of all of us, but I'm like, that's for us though, you know, like the stuff that I do with her, like I don't need it, you know, like so Father's Day was
the usual
you know, like so Father's Day just past Sunday, right? And you know, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my dad, right? You know, and he's been gone for 2 years now. So I know I miss him. He knows I miss him. I don't need Facebook to know how much I love him or I loved him. Like, they don't need to know that crap. I know that. And that's all that matters. And that's where I'm getting to this thing with Facebook and social media, is that I'm getting to a place personally where, and I've said it before, like I'll type up a response or I'll type up a post. And when I sit there and I look at it, I give it like 30 seconds. And I'm like, why am I doing this?
Nah, there should be like, an all your shirt button. I maintain this shit.
What is the purpose for this before I hit enter? So, and more times than not, I hit delete, I cancel, I roll out. So
no, I mean, like I said, there should be two prompts when you're about to post something. Are you sure? And the second one, do people really give a shit what you got to say? And then if you say yes to do both of these prompts, then you can post away. I have this video I wanted to share. This is this little girl. I don't know if you guys have seen it. She's probably maybe 12 or something, 12, 13, and she's confronting her parents for being conservative. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Let me share that.
By the way, Alex, I love that.
Oh yeah,
sentiment.
this one is pretty.
I also love your shirt. Because did you know that I'm sorry, but did you know that the font at the top of your shirt is the Metal Gear Solid font?
You know, somebody pointed that out to me the other day, and I didn't realize it until they said it. I was like, "What?"
All right, check this out.
Do you know how many?
No, shut up.
No.
Can you shut your mouth for a minute?
No.
Because I actually work in the ghetto. I see the people.
Do you know why they're in that position?
I see these people.
Do you understand the systematic and historical reason for why they're in that position?
They don't care. All they want to do is be ghetto.
No.
Yes, there's some that don't, and there's good people.
No.
Most of them just want to suck off the system or do something bad like drugs or gangs. And that's all they
have been oppressed. They have not been given the same opportunities you have had.
They do, and there's plenty of black people.
No, they don't, Dad.
There's plenty of
And you not recognizing that as an issue is the reason why it's still continuing today.
I see them all over. There's all kinds of successful people that are of color. It doesn't matter what color, brown, white.
But it's
orange,
a lot harder
yellow.
for them to get to that position.
It doesn't matter. When they do, they're fine. But there's always filthy animals. And that
You're calling people of color black animals. You're calling them animals. Are you kidding me?
You didn't let me finish.
That's not okay. No matter what, that's not okay. No matter what, it's not okay. Racism is not okay. Why do you think that racism is okay?
Oh, that's mine.
Billy, I'm gonna look at. No, I'm looking at.
And then the mom jumps in.
Yeah, the mom.
Your statistics they can be warped. Statistics can be warped. You want me to show you videos?
So why are
Do you want me to show you videos of cops? I will do it.
Why is statistics wrong?
Because they can be warped. I'm not giving statistics right now. They can be warped. Personal experiences can't.
No, because this is actually putting it into play.
Do I need to show you a bunch of videos of cops attacking protesters, peaceful protesters?
Listen to this. This is the number.
You mean I'm informed and educated?
You're not though.
Man, shout out to this girl, man.
Yeah,
This-
girl.
Yeah.
She's the fact that she can grow up in a household like that and come out as a well-rounded,
there's a baby in the
knows
room,
the
too.
world.
Yeah.
Like she's amazing. Like I want to tell like a quick story about something, like, because I had a phone conversation with one of my other friends, and they asked me, like, hey, with everything that you see going on, with everyone posting about Black Lives Matter, like, do you think we'll actually get to a part where we kind of like can heal racism or remove racism? And my response to him is yes. Like I told him yes, because I have hope that he was saying not remove, but do you think you could actually change racist minds by posting all this stuff? And I said yes, we can. And I had a good example of why, because there's a girl that I know. This girl that I know, white girl.
Karen?
She's a perfectly very lovely girl. She's been raped twice in her life. Twice, and both of the offenders in both of those cases were Black guys. So this girl, like, basically, to me at that point, she has racism on a silver platter. She can go through life hating Black guys because of what just happened to her in her life. But over the past couple of weeks, she's on Facebook, Black Lives Matter. Like, this is not right. Like, police can't do this because they're like, this girl, her personal life experience has given it to her on nobody would blame her either. Like what has happened to her, nobody could blame her for like feeling the way she does. We know logically it would be incorrect, but who could blame somebody if that's like the most extreme life experience on the other side? But she came out of that not being racist. She still knows right from wrong when she's had the worst of the worst happen to her. So then anybody else in between that spectrum that, I don't want to, like, Black people, they're Black on Black crime. Anybody that's less than that, you really have no foundation to kind of be as hateful as you are right now. Like, if this girl can come out of that and not be racist, you should be able to too. That's the way
because she understands, because she has the, I think you were going to touch on it back, but like, hurt people understand hurt.
Yeah.
And they understand what people can go through in the most painful way. I mean, granted, what she went through and what Black people have gone through are completely different things. The hurt's still the same. And she understands that. So she's empathetic to that. So she's, in tune with herself to be like, all right, I can't go off the deep end and just keep perpetuating something that doesn't need my help. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna, like,
it's a really good lens to even think about. I didn't even think about that. But what I was gonna say though, where I struggle with are people, changeable, whatever the word is the people that don't know anybody of color, like the people that grew up in Wisconsin, for example, and never met anybody Black, never spoke to anybody that's Black, unless it was like a cashier or somebody that they worked with, or, you know, like something like that. Maybe they had no relation whatsoever with that person. Then it's like they're just basing it off of whatever media has told them or social media, you know, and then you're trying to say like, no, what you don't know, you don't know, essentially.
And that those people will need like a life altering event, kind of like what happened in American History X. Like, take some kind of event like that in their life to kind of like get past it. Like in some shape or form.
Well, the goal is really to have something in common that you can relate to. Like Alex was saying, if it's pain, if it's hurt, if it's being discriminated against. Like if today you took you pack your shit and you go live in another country and now you're the stranger and you're the other, you have a total new appreciation for, you know, for other people who go through the same shit in this country. So,
I mean, I think, yes, experiences, absolutely. Knowing people, absolutely. But going back to what you're saying, if someone does grow up in the boonies and all they have is media, this is why, I mean, I'm a film nerd guy, right? So this is maybe where my mind's at, but this is why representation is so important, because this is why just having rom-coms with Black leads, it doesn't have to be about, you know, just seeing Black faces. Like
a Black president,
but there's like, just like stupid comedies that are fun, and horror movies and action movies. Like,
I mean, look at the movie that won Best Picture this past year. I mean,
Parasite.
Parasite,
I mean,
people want to be visible. That at the end of the day, that's how you grow diversity. Is like, look,
I just think
we have people like
story
this, people
teaches
like that.
us so much. Story is how we base our lives, and we got to see like that. There have been studies
like you said,
on this. Like,
it's not in a negative way, like the hero, the character, you know, that wins some, you know, at the end,
or the Black character in a movie that survives the whole film. You know, that was like the running joke for the longest time. I can remember, you know, like
the funny Black guy friend, the funny Black friend.
I had a friend recently say, when he was talking about this, say, Black people deserve to have movies that just aren't that good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we need to get to a space where it's about representation, where like, there can be a black led cast of an action movie and everyone's like, yeah, it's an okay movie, because white people get to make shitty movies all the time. You know what I mean?
We want to suck too, you know.
We should have a black.
Can we suck?
Being out there, you know, like just
have the option to suck
on the screen.
We should have a Black Piranha 3D.
Why not?
We should have a Black Sharknado.
Yeah, we should.
All Black cast. Put in Kevin Hart, and then make a Sharknado 6.
I seriously I believe in this. So like,
no,
I don't know, man. I just like stories taught me so much. Like, movies and stories taught me so much about the world growing up. And like, I am grateful for all the stupid comedies, Tales from the Hood. You know, there's the issue movies. There's the like important issue movies, you know, like the things that win Academy Awards and stuff like, but often those movies are about Black pain. Often those movies are about trauma.
Yeah.
Just like, white people don't have to get boxed into that corner. White people just get to make a fucking Jackass 3D. So I want to see the Black Jackass 3D.
Yeah,
that's a good point. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. We're trying to keep it around an hour and a half, so we don't end up talking all night.
Sorry to go on movie rants all night, y'all.
Oh, I know you can. We can have a whole show just for that. All right. Well, once again, thank you so much, guys. Obi, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you,
Alex, Adam, Lane, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. There was a lot of people in the chat this time.
Yeah, thank you, Faith, for being in the chat.
Shout out to Kim.
Echo.
Kimberly.
Kim, if you want to be on the show, just message me.
I just told back.
I would love to have you on.
I know you have like a lot of opinions. I was kind of quiet, but I'm not quiet in person.
No, you're not. You gotta meet Lane in person. Lane's the shit. Lane's the shit. But again, we do this every Thursday around 9 o'clock. Join the conversation. If you want to join the next one, just shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll send you the Zoom link and you'll be part of the conversation. This is just, you know, we don't have an agenda. Obi does.
Sometimes I kept one this week because there's so
Obi's taking notes over there.
Week to week, there's been like, it's because like, I've been having convos like 24/7. Somebody will call me at 3 a.m. like, "Hey, are you still up? You want to talk?"
Yeah, and I called you.
It's an outlet. People need to talk more. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Until we can take this and do it like on stage with as a panel with like people in the audience. But this is all we have right now. So, you gotta be able to connect, find new ways to connect. You have these conversations online, hopefully not on the keyboard, so you get it all mad and shit. But this is useful. So it looks like we're going to be in quarantine for much longer than we thought.
Boo.
Thank you, Karens.
Before we go, wear your mask, please.
Wear your fucking mask. Please wear your mask. Don't be a Karen. Don't be a Chad. This is not the time. This is not the fucking time.
Don't be a Karen. Don't be a Chad. Wearing your mask is awfully rad.
Yeah. Oh, there's a shirt. There is a T-shirt right there.
Bars.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Make sure you follow the FeedBak on Twitter.
We gotta get
Facebook,
We gotta get Lane a hat next episode.
I have a whole hat rack. I could wear a hat. Yeah.
If we keep going like this, we're gonna have like 10 people on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
So rotate the guests.
We're gonna have to rotate at some point, guys, because we're trying to keep it like at least manageable. Anyway, thank you so much. Follow the FeedBak. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. Stay safe. Wear your mask.
Peace, everybody.
Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.